this does include red lights.
Austin,
We are
Texas.
13
Let's
feet in the air
start.
right now, meaning we are closer to these traffic lights and street signs than we are to the ground. And if you stand while the bus is moving, you are in for a terrible game on rainbow. Okay? Rule number 2, please keep your arms and hands inside the bus area at all times. You are close enough to touch these traffic lights, street signs, power lines, and especially branches. And if you pull a branch while the bus is moving, it's going to swing back and hit the person behind you, making a terrible day for everyone involved, myself included. Rule number 3, this can become an adventure tour at times. Austin is one of the top 10 urban cores in the country, and while we absolutely love our trees, they will sometimes reach over into the bus area. So, a good rule of thumb. If you see a tree branch coming, or if I say duck, we are going to take our heads and we are going to duck. Right? Real simple there. And rules number 4, keep a firm grasp on all your hats and glasses. It can get breezy up here on the double-decker, and if those go flying off while the bus is moving, we do not stop to pick them up, meaning an extra expense for you guys. Okay? And with that, we are ready to go whenever you are, Mike. We do allow food and drink on the double-decker, however, we do not allow alcohol. We would like you all to keep it. And we also do not allow smoking of any kind, including these cigarettes. Now let's get going.
Welcome.
The first thing I like to point out to our groups is how the streets here in Austin are named. All the streets going north and south in the downtown are named after rivers in Texas. So right now we are on Red River Street, named after the Red River, the border between the great state of Texas and the OK state of Oklahoma. As you go farther west, you will find other rivers such as the Colorado, the Guadalupe, the Trinity, all the way to Rio Grande Street, named after the Rio Grande, the border between the U.S. and Mexico. And before I forget, I want everyone to raise me that brand new fancy wristband pipe in the air for me that Mike gave you. Oh, great. If you have the pink wristband, that means you're doing the hop-on, hop-off version. If at any of our points of interest you would like to hop off and check out the area for yourself there, you absolutely can. Just be sure to grab a brochure as you leave, to grab our schedule, and to be back at that stop the next time we come around. We promise never to leave early from a stop, but we may be a little late. Austin is known for many things, and terrible traffic is one of them. If you have the purple wristband, you are doing the single loop tour. So, you started with us at the Austin Visitor Center, you're going to get off with us at the Austin Visitor Center. If you decide you would like to upgrade your ticket, you absolutely can. Just be sure to talk to Mike at that stop. He will help you process your upgrade fee.
Thank you.
Alright, and with that, we are now approaching perhaps the most infamous part of Austin, Texas. The East 6 or 36th region.
Texas.
I like to joke that this is where you will have the best night you will never remember. 36 is here is home to dozens of different bars, clubs, and restaurants. So you're guaranteed to find a couple places, or at least one place, to have an absolutely amazing night. Any genre of music can have a home here on 6, from country to rock to jazz to blues. A lot of blues, actually. I don't know why. We're a very happy city, in my opinion, but we have a ton of blues here. You can also find any kind of cocktail imaginable here on 6. From your classics like a rum and coke or a gin and tonic, to establishment exclusives that you are not going to find anywhere else in the city. But this is a family-friendly tour, and I'm going to point out some of the more family-friendly things you can do here on 6. The first one of which is going to be on our right, and it is going to be the Museum of the Weird, a collection of mind-boggling oddities and artifacts meant to stoop and bewilder the mind. For all you Hollywood buffs, it is actually believed that the top floor of the Museum of the Weird is where Johnny Depp lived while they were filming the movie What's Eating Gilbert Grape. And the Museum of the Weird is actually going to be our second stop on the tour. This is where you can hop off to check out the museum, 6th Street, or if you go a couple blocks down, you will find the Disney Hotel. All right, you guys. So here it is, the Museum of the Wounded. Oh, the shoes.
Austin.
Oh yes, these are very, very old. A lot of the downtown
Gusto
here
mo kunan ka, isama kita
apparently
dito.
in the about like. So if you see a bunch of older, really close together buildings like this, these are these buildings that what has been done has come and gone so much. Oh, whatever is fully inside. As opposed to things like the skyscrapers in front of us, which are like 5 or 10 probably.
Welcome.
The booth.
It's Tito Brian. Hi, Tito Brian. Hello.
Everything is. Oh, yeah, I actually talked about him a little bit. All right. Yeah. All right. No problem. Take your time. I was just curious. Wherever you like.
It's fall season in Austin.
We fought to get out the back of the bus.
Oh, hello. There we go. And with that, we are ready to go whenever you are, Mike. There we go. Knock. There we go. All right, so if you look over here on our right, you're going to see the Ritz Theater. Built in 1929, originally for the talkies. This theater was supposed to look like the Alamo Draft House. Unfortunately, during the pandemic, that location does did have to close. But we are excited to see what will take place inside the historic Ritz Theater and among the family of entertainment on 6th. Alrighty, y'all. Now if you look over here on your right, you're going to see the Driscoll Hotel. Built in 1985 by Colonel Jesse Driscoll, who wanted to build, and I quote, the nicest hotel south of St. Louis. We have a fantastic little cafe here inside the Driscoll where you can get breaks or a cup of coffee. And this hotel has even played its own role in both Texas and American history. Every Texas governor inaugural ball has been held here at the Driscoll Hotel. And it is actually believed the Driscoll Cafe is where President Lyndon B. Johnson took his wife Lady Bird for their very first date. So a little bit of romance history for all you romance fans. Alright y'all, I recommend you get your cameras and phones ready, as when we turn onto Congress Avenue here, you're going to get the best view of the Texas State Capitol that you're going to get on the entire tour. And while I have plenty to say about the Texas State Capitol, there are a few other things I want to point out before that. The first one will be on our left, and it will be a statue of a woman firing a cannon. Alrighty, y'all. Now there is the Texas State Capitol. Now, before I talk about that, you guys all look up here on your left. You can see this statue of a woman firing a cannon. This statue is of Angelina Everly, known as the woman who saved Austin, Texas. Angelina's story goes that in 1841, the president of the Republic of Texas at the time, Sam Houston, wanted to make his namesake city the capital of Texas. How it worked back then is whatever city held the state archives was the capital. So in the dead of night, Sam managed to go and raid the state archive office. The man did a pretty good job of not waking up most in the city, but they did wake up Angelina Everly, who, seeing the shadows in the night, ran to the cannon there, because there was a cannon there, because Texas, and fired, sending a cannonball right through the wall of the state archive office, waking up the rest of the city and scaring off the men. It is thanks to Angelina that we are the capital of Texas today, for if she had not fired that cannon, Houston would be the capital, and we would not have that beautiful building right there in front of me. That is the Texas State Capitol. It is the largest state capitol in the entire country, second only to the nation's capital. However, there is a fun little rumor that due to the Goddess of Liberty statue at the tippy top, we are technically taller than the nation's capital. The very first brick of the Texas State Capitol was laid on March 2nd, 1885, the anniversary of Texas Independence Day. And the building was first opened to the public on April 22nd, 1888, the anniversary of San Jacinto Day, a very important holiday here in the state of Texas. And while the building is already very large to the naked eye, what you are seeing right now is actually only half the size of the Texas State Capitol. In the 90s and early 2000s, there was a renovation project at a 4-story underground complex to the building, effectively doubling the functional capacity of the Texas State Capitol. However, if you walk the grounds of the Capitol today, you'll be hard-pressed to find any evidence of this underground complex, as the architects and planners for it cleverly hid them within the hedges and shrubs that dot the Capitol grounds. Alright, y'all. And with that, we are now approaching our third stop on the tour. This is where you can hop off to check out the Texas State Capitol, its grounds, or if you go 2 blocks to your left, you will find the Texas Governor's Mansion, home to, you guessed it, the Governor of Texas. Ready. And it looks like we have someone coming to join us again.
The capital of
Welcome back, sir.
Austin.
We are ready to go whenever you are, Mike. Now, the architect of the Texas State Capitol was a man named Elijah E. Myers, who won a national design competition with this design in mind. Elijah had a very impressive resume, as he also designed the Colorado and Michigan State Capitals. However, I think the same thing very best for last. We like to say everything's bigger in Texas, and it's only fitting that our capital. Direct your attention to this tall, skinny metal tower right here in front of us. You guys see that? That is a boom tower. Back in the 1850s, towers were the cities of the U.S. and Europe relied on downtown. It stands at 150 feet in the air. There are carbon rods on top that, when turned on, would emit light. However, these rods will go out pretty frequently, and if you look more towards the base of the tower, you're going to see that basket. That basket is where men would have to pulley themselves up 150 feet in the air in the dark of night to change out the carbon rods. Not exactly a job for the faint of heart, which is why I work this job where I am only 13 feet in the air. Austin, Texas is now the only city in the U.S. to still have operating boom towers. You can find a map of where they are located both online and in the Austin Visitor Center. And if you keep a keen eye on our tour, you will actually find a few other boom towers as we go throughout the city. They were made famous in the movie Dazed and Confused when the actor Matthew McConaughey, I don't know if y'all heard of him before, referenced them with his line, "Let's go party at the Moon Tower." But now we do have some newer things here in Austin than 100-year-old moon towers. And a prime example of something is over here on our right. This is Waterloo Park. Waterloo Park is a brand new park opened just this August here in the heart of the downtown. It is an 11 square acre park and it boasts a mile of hike and bike trails, innovative playgrounds for the kids, and my favorite feature, the Moody Amphitheater, a 500 capacity amphitheater built naturally into the landscape of the park. So what this means is not only can the Moody Amphitheater be used by the general public, or by the city for major concerts and events, but also by the general public. So let's say any of you guys want to have your own concert at noon on a Wednesday, you absolutely can here at the Moody Amphitheater. Now, Austin, Texas is known as the live music capital of the world, and it is certainly a title that we have earned. We have over 200 different live music venues within the city limits, so you can never come to Austin and claim you didn't get the chance to hear live music. That is a lie, and lying is bad, guys. We are also home to two world-renowned music festivals here in Austin, Austin City Limits and South by Southwest. Has anyone gotten the chance to go to either of those before? No? Alrighty, I recommend it if you ever get the opportunity. It is believed when South by comes to town, between 250 and 300,000 people will visit Austin, Texas. To give you an idea, that is about a third of the Austin population coming to visit within 2 weeks. We do have more than just live music here in Austin. We also have Formula One racing at the Circuit of the Americas tracks about 20 miles south and southeast of us. And it is believed when Formula One comes to town, every hotel from San Antonio to Waco is absolutely booked. So if you decide you want to visit our fair little city again and have trouble finding a place to stay, that might be the reason why.
It was in my hand. Oh, hi, Tasha.
So where's everyone coming from today? I know you're from Germany. You're coming from Germany. What about you, ladies? Where y'all coming from? Arizona. All right. Mike is going to want me to ask what part of Arizona. Dallas? Oh, the valley. Okay. Being here, all right. If you look down your left, you guys, you're going to see the Delcy Medical Center Teaching Hospital. You're right across the street from the Dell Medical School. The Dell Medical School is the first medical school to be built on the UT main campus. It was opened in 2017 and opened in 2017 and cost $295 million to build. Most of that coming from Austin taxpayers like yours truly, but $25 million from Michael Dell himself. So if you want to get a medical school named after you, that's the current going rate. It actually graduated its very first class of 4 physicians earlier this year in May. And I now hear the average class size comes in at about 35 medical students, which is astronomical growth for a school that's about as old as a toddler. Alright, y'all, now we're a very friendly city here in Austin. You can wave to people as we go by, but if you're only going to wave once, I like to do it as we go by the hospital. Most people do not like being in the hospital. And you never know whose day it might make, just to wave hi to them and to let them know that you care.
God bless. Pray for healing.
Now, for all you college sports fans, if you look up here on your right, you're going to see this large circular building. This is the Frank Irwin Special Event Center, home to both the men and women UT basketball teams. The Frank Irwin has hosted a wide variety of concerts ranging from Dolly Parton to Post Malone to Paul McCartney, and other cool events like WWE, wrestling, and monster trucks. Now, if you look on the side, you're going to see this beautiful little building. That is the Austin Blind Asylum. Built in 1856 to house the blind population of Austin, this building has most recently become part of the UT School of Social Work in an area of campus known as the Little Campus. Alrighty, y'all. So now we are going to play a game of I Spy. What I want y'all to do is I want you to look at these street signs and tell me the main differences between these and the ones we saw earlier in the tour. The orange color. Okay, what's the other one, guys? The Longhorn, that is correct. When you are at the University of Texas, they want you to know you are at the University of Texas. So they went to City Hall and they got special permission to make their street signs have the burnt orange color of the university and rock the Longhorn logo. And it is because of the University of Texas that we are going to take a slight detour. Now you'll now get to meet perhaps the most hated part of Austin, Texas, I-35. Where are y'all coming from? Y'all right here in front of me. Yep. From where? Oh, from Grand Prairie. Okay, I recognize Grand Prairie. Okay. Well, congratulations. Welcome to Austin, Texas. What about y'all way in the back who joined us at the museum? Where y'all coming from? Los Angeles. There's always a Californian on the bus. We always get one or two Californians on the bus. All right. Well, welcome. Y'all are not moving here, are you? All right. Okay, great. Welcome to Austin, Texas. Thank you for visiting.
We're keeping our options open.
Okay. I understand. Other options are a great place to also go to.
With Elon.
Like Arizona. You can raise up their rent. No, she doesn't like Arizona.
We
Okay.
followed
Well,
Elon.
what?
We followed Elon.
They followed Elon. Yeah, I'm hearing that a lot. Really begin to regret his decision now. Okay, what about you, man? Where are you coming from? Florida. All right. We don't deal with as many Floridians moving here, so I like having Floridians on the bus. Okay. What part of Florida?
South Florida.
South Florida, like Miami?
West Palm.
West Palm. Okay. I think I know where that is. Okay. What about y'all right here with the baby? Where y'all coming from? New Hampshire. Y'all came a long distance away from New Hampshire to Austin, Texas with an 8-month-old. That kid gonna be well traveled if this is how y'all go. Okay. And what about y'all with the phones here? Where y'all coming from?
3 hours away.
3 hours away. From what direction?
Houston.
Oh, Houston. All right. I love Houston. I'm from Houston.
All right.
Alrighty, y'all. Well, I don't know how many of y'all are familiar with I-35, but I-35 goes all the way from the U.S.-Mexico border down in Brownsville to the U.S.-Canadian border up in Minnesota. And here in Austin, Texas, I-35 is famous for its terrible traffic and more often than not, dead stops. Some of the traffic here on I-35 can be attributed to the boom Austin has gone through in the past 10 to 15 years. We like to joke that we get 150 people moving here every single day. 100 of those from California alone. And one such Californian who decided to move here was a man named Elon Musk, who after moving here decided he wanted to build a gigafactory here as well, which we expect will do all kinds of things for the city, including drive up the number of people moving to Austin, Texas. And now that we have crossed I-35, I would like to direct y'all's attention back across I-35 and what you are going to see is the American football stadium home to the Texas Longhorns. Royal must win head coach in the history of the program. He won us 3 national championships in 1963, 1969, and 1970, as well as 11 Southwest Conference titles. After retiring from coaching college football, Darrell K. Royal continued to live in Austin, Texas until his death at the age of 88. Alright y'all, so what we are going to do right now is I'm going to give you a little break from hearing me talk. When we cross I-35 again, I will come back. And in the meantime, here are some great Austin artists for you guys to listen to. The most famous living Austin. Right now, I would say Willie Nelson is probably the most famous living Austin. We have probably some more famous residents, but they are not as connected with Austin, Texas as Willie Nelson. So, Longhorn fans in there as possible. But while it is one of the top 10 largest non-motorsport arenas in the world, we are actually only third in the state of Texas, coming behind Jerry World of Arlington for the Dallas Cowboys, and Notre Dame for the A&M Aggies. You're going to see the Mike A. Meyer Stadium. This is where the Texas Longhorns women's soccer team will play their home games throughout the season. The University will It was originally one building on 40 acres with 221 students. The campus now comes in at about 350 square acres, and the average student body ranges between 45 to 50,000 students in both undergrad and graduate programs. Alright, and if you look over here on our right, you're going to see this large white box building. That is the LBJ Presidential Library and Museum. Named after President Lyndon B. Johnson, it is the first presidential library to be built on a college campus. They have a wide variety of artifacts and exhibits inside, including every paper from LBJ's public career, a scale replica of LBJ's Oval Office, and my personal favorite, where you can see all the different gifts ambassadors gave LBJ during his time in office. Alrighty, you guys, and here is our fourth stop on the tour. This is where you can hop up to check out the LBJ Presidential Library and Museum, the Royal Texas Memorial Football Stadium, and the Texas Athletics Hall of Fame, or this area of campus in general, if you would like. So I will cover that in a little bit, but there is a significant figure in our history named with the last name Austin. Alright, and with that, we are ready to go whenever you are, Mike. Now, you all see that tall tower right there in front of us with the clock on it? That is the main building of the UT campus, also known as the UT Tower. The tower was completed in 1937 and it stands at 307 feet tall. It is the pride and joy of the university, and there were actually tours before the pandemic that would take you to the observation deck located right below the clock faces. As beautiful as the tower is, though, it does have its own share of dark history. When on August 1st, 1966, a 24-year-old engineering student climbed to the top of the tower and started shooting, killing 17 people and injuring 32 more before he himself was taken down by Austin police officer Houston McCoy. There is a memorial on the north side of the tower to commemorate the victims of that tragedy and to never forget what happened on that fateful day. Now, the university does have a lot to be proud of. It is a world-renowned research institution with a lot of their programs coming within the top 10 in the country. Of special note are the McComb School of Business and Congo School of Engineering, whose accounting and petroleum engineering programs come in at number 1 in the nation, and Congo's civil engineering program coming in at number 5. You combine this with an active student body of over 900 and it's no surprise so many Texas high school seniors want to become Longhorns themselves, or are forced to become Aggies. Now, I'm sure some of you guys are wondering how the University of Texas became so much. How it went from one building on 40 acres to literally everything you see around you. Drilling. And even then, it would not be until 1923 would the drill Santa Rita No. 1 finally strike oil, covering West Texas in that good old liquid gold. It was believed that the first royalty check for this oil came in at $516 and some change. And while the University of Texas is still very committed to oil drilling and they make a lot more money off of it now, we have decided that the Santa Rita No. 1 has done her duty, and that she can now go into retirement, where she spends her time over here on her own level, all the students that she worked so hard to help benefit. That was the one that struck oil, not has had a long list of alumni come through its doors, and some of them have made quite a name for themselves. These include people like the actors Matthew McConaughey and Owen Wilson, First Ladies Lady Bird Johnson and Laura Bush, and perhaps the most famous Texas X alumni of all, myself. Alrighty, y'all. Now, if you look over here on your right, you're going to see this red tile roof building. That is the Blanton Museum of Art. The Blanton Museum of Art is home to about 1,400 different works of art, ranging from all over the world, places like Latin America and Europe, and time periods as early as the medieval Renaissance. They will also have visiting exhibits come through the Blanton, so I recommend you check it out every time you come to Austin, as no two trips there are ever fully the same. But maybe history is the type of museum you like more. That is when I recommend you check out this dome museum over here on our left, the Bob Bullock Texas State History Museum. Built in the 90s when Lieutenant Governor Bob Bullock decided we needed a museum to preserve and commemorate Texas State history. They have a wide variety of exhibits. And this is actually going to be our 5th stop on the tour. This is where you can hop up to check out the Bob Bullock Texas State History Museum, the UT Tower, or this area of campus in general, if you would like. This is also where I can offer you water if you're looking to make yourself some on the and a blanket if you're feeling a little cold. We are Texans here at the Double Decker, and our tolerance for the cold is very, very low. So we understand if you need something to keep you a little warm. Alrighty. So what brings all of you guys to Austin, Texas today? Just visiting tourisms? A what? Oh, a Mahjong tournament. That's the first time I've heard that reasoning. I think I know what Mahjong is. I think I played the computer version when I was yeah, I was say I think pre-installed. What about y'all, New Hampshire? What brings y'all here? Just a weekend trip? Here for a few months. Okay, that's a heck of a vacation. Okay, y'all are going to escape the New Hampshire cold. All right, you picked a good reason. What about y'all, LA? Y'all just here to visit, right? Okay, if I had that correct. What about you, Florida? What brings you here to Austin? Huh? Just to visit. Okay, what about you, Germany? What brings you all the way from across the pond? Business, all right. And what about y'all now in Austin? You're from Grand Prairie, yes. Oh, congratulations, happy birthday! How old are you turning today, sir? 25. That's how old I am. I thought I recognized you from high school. And what about y'all, Houston? What brings y'all to Austin, Texas?
The bus tour.
The bus tour. He came all the way for our bus. Heck, yeah, I'm gonna need that to be put down on a TripAdvisor. Alrighty. And with that, we are ready to go whenever you are, Mike. Alright. So, from what I can tell, it seems like a good majority of you guys are not actually from the state of Texas. And as a Texan born and bred, it is my duty to tell you the great history of our state. So, what I want y'all to do right now is just kind of take in Austin as you see it. What you see is tall, beautiful skyscrapers, nice paved roads, a ton of cars. But now I want you to picture what this looked like 200 years ago. Those skyscrapers, this West Landing. And what most people do not know is that 200 years ago, this was actually Mexico. When Mexico declared independence from Spain in 1821, they decided they wanted to bolster their northern area of Texas, or Tejas as it was known back. So they offered free land to Americans and empresaries, so long as they actually came and used the land. To give you an idea as to why this would be so enticing, it was believed an acre of land in the U.S. was going for $1.20. from the U.S. to Texas.
Austin.
Your hint, there is a city named after him. Toronto? Oh, Colorado. No, that's after a river. Okay, what was it? Austin, that is correct. Stephen F. Austin led the first 300 families from the U.S. to Texas. And this plan worked really well, and in fact worked a little too well for the Mexican government's liking. As when they looked over the demographics of Texas 10 years later, what they found was that the empresario population outnumbered the native Tejano population by a factor of 10 to 1. Not only that, but they also learned that settlers from southern states were bringing slaves into Texas. However, slavery had already been abolished in Mexico in 1829. This angered the Mexican government and brought about 5 major changes to the immigration policy into Texas. These changes being, number 1, no more free land. If you want to move to Texas, you got to pay for the land you're moving to. Change number 2, if you had gotten free land, you're now going to pay property taxes on it. Change number 3, if you try to bring slaves to Texas, you run the risk of change number 4, Spanish if you want to move to Texas. Change number 5, you had to convert to Catholicism. As you might imagine, this did not sit well with the American settlers. And this brought about a series of skirmishes, the most famous one of which being the Battle of the Alamo, where such Texas legends as Davy Crockett and Colonel Lee Travis lost their lives fighting Santa Anna and his much larger army. After winning the Alamo, Santa Anna turned east on down San Houston, and this led to the Battle of San Jacinto. The Battle of San Jacinto lasted a total of 18 minutes, and was a decisive Texas victory. They captured Santa Anna the next day when he was pretending to be a soldier in his own army, but was accidentally sold out when his men kept referring to him as El Presidente. The Texan fighters did not know Spanish, but I think we might be able to figure out what El Presidente translates to. Now, can't we, guys? Yep. After capturing Santa Anna, they got him to sign the Treaty of Palacio, and Texas was declared its own independent sovereign nation, which we were for 10 years, until 1845, when we would join the United States of America. And the rest is U.S. history. Alrighty, you guys. So as we get coming up, we're going to see this large concrete building with all the windows and the flags on top. That is the He-Man Marion Sweat Travis County Courthouse. He-Man Marion Sweat was an African-American college graduate who applied to the UT Law School but was denied due to the color of his skin. He took the case to court with it first being heard in this courthouse in 1946, and it would go all the way to the Supreme Court, where they ruled in 1950 in the Sweat versus Boehner case that UT could not discriminate against Mr. Sweat due to his race, and he had to be admitted, marking the first steps of integration for both the University of Texas and the state of Texas at large. In 2005, 55 years after the landmark ruling, we renamed the Travis County Courthouse in Mr. Sweat's honor to commemorate the fight he went through to help bring civil rights to African Americans in the state of Texas. He was represented by a man named Thurgood Marshall, who would later rise to fame in the Brown versus Board of Education case, in which he served as an associate justice. Alrighty, so I'm sure the next thing you're expecting to find among all the skyscrapers and parking garages that you see before you are a couple of 4-bed, 3-bath Victorian-style homes. Well, luckily for y'all, that's exactly what we got in store, with an area of town known as the Vermont Block. The Vermont family was a very influential family here in the city of Austin from the late 1800s to about 1920. They had a hand in everything. You name it, banking, mercantile, high class. If it had something to do with Austin, the Vermont family had a say in it. And they had enough money and influence for them to buy an entire city block for them to build their houses on. And this is going to lead to our next game of I Spy. What I'm going to want y'all to do is as we go by the big house, I want y'all to focus on its second floor balcony. And when I come back, I want you to tell me what's weird about the second floor balcony. Okay? So it's not the house in the corner, it is the want to focus on the second floor balcony, and when I come back, I want y'all to tell me what's weird about the second floor balcony. Okay, so there it is. Any guesses? What's weird about that second floor balcony? Just shout it out. No doors. That is correct, you guys. If you looked at that second floor balcony, you would realize there were no doors for it. The reason why? Property taxes. When that house was being built, the way property taxes worked was the more doors you have, the more you pay. So, in true defiant Texas fashion, the Vermont family decided, I don't want to pay taxes. So they built one front door and tall windows that they would crawl in and out of. Now, I'm sure some of you guys are thinking, that's a pretty unfair way to get out of paying your fair share. Well, in the Vermont family's defense, it was believed they paid 20% of the entire city of Austin's property taxes at the time. Now, I don't know about y'all, but if I paid 20% of the city of Austin's property taxes, I would also slap through windows to get out of paying another time. Do you not agree, birthday boy? Yep, good man right there. With age comes wisdom. And with that, we are now going through the West 6 or Warehouse District of Austin, Texas. While not as famous as Dirty 6 we were on earlier, this area does have its own active nightlife. And I like to joke that this is where you take mom and dad clubbing whenever they come in. Now, we've had a long, almost any day of the week you can find something going on here in Austin. And because of this, we've had a long list of celebrities that like to come and call us at home. These include people like Matthew McConaughey, Elijah Wood, and even Sandra Bullock, who have called us home. But I don't think anyone is quite as connected with our great city as the country legend Willie Nelson. And believe it or not, you can run into Willie when you're out living your daily life. Willie there remarks that this is where the show Austin City Limits is recorded and broadcasted. Austin City Limits is the oldest running show in American history, starting in 1974 and still going on today. The show originally started on the University of Texas campus in a room that sat 200 people. In 2011, the show decided they needed a little extra room, and so they moved here to the W Hotel within its Moody Theater, which can seat 2,500 people. A massive upgrade in size. The show has grown from its early days on public broadcast to now include the television show, multiple radio stations, the world-renowned music festival, and more merchandise that I can list off for the remainder of the tour. Alright, you guys, now what we're going to do, as you go through this intersection, I want you all to look to your left. And what you are going to see is a giant spike that comes out over 2nd Street. Okay? So if you all look over here to your left, you're going to see this massive spike coming out over the road. There we go. You want to call that spike? That is the tail of the armadillo. This building right here beside us is Austin City Hall, and it is believed that City Hall is shaped in the shape of an armadillo. Now, personally, can I see the armadillo? No, I cannot. I also believe that dog with you to various bars and restaurants. They just have a couple of rules they like you to follow if you decide to bring man's best friend along for dinner. And these rules include things such as the dog must remain by your side at all times. They prefer you use outdoor seating if it is available. And the most important rule of all, they have to be a very good boy the entire meal. Some of y'all have some decent music taste. The rest of you guys have homework when you go home later. But Stevie Ray Vaughan is another icon to come out of Austin, Texas. Though he is originally from Dallas, he dropped out of high school at the age of 14 to move to Austin and pursue his music dream. He loved performing in our city, and his last concert here was actually held at Auditorium Shores. After his death in 1990 in a helicopter crash, he built a statue to commemorate Stevie Ray at Auditorium Shores, and in his honor, that location has become somewhat of a pop-up music scene, with various pop-up concerts happening from time to time, the largest one of which being really held back in 2019 at the announcement made of and there he is working his magic again, for the most part. Thank you for that, Mike. And with that, we are about to turn on to perhaps my favorite area in all of Austin, Texas, the South Congress or SoCo area. Congress Avenue here used to be the main way to come to Austin from the south. San Antonio, the Valley, Brownsville, you would come up. Have I been in these photos myself? Yes, I have. And that is all I can say about the I Love You So Much mural. Alrighty, you guys. Now, if you look over here on our right, you're going to see just some of the great you can see that Austin, the South Conference has to offer. Whether it be Carlos Oyster Bar, right beside that you have Hot Daddy's Burger Bar, or maybe you want to go to Guerra's Taco Bar in Green. But I want to point out some of the businesses you can find on this side. If you look right here, you're going to see Lucy in Disguise with Diamonds. Lucy in Disguise with Diamonds is a costume shop, one of the largest in the city, where you can find things ranging from Marathon Road to Marilyn. And while they're costume out, a good going to do is we're about to take a little detour to get back onto South Congress heading towards downtown. I'm going to give you a little break from hearing me talk and play more of those great, awesome artists you were listening to earlier. And if any of you guys have a question, feel free to ask me during this time. When is he building the Where? To my knowledge, it is going to be in the southwest of, or southeast of Austin in an area called Del Valley. I could be wrong. I think we are also building another factory in northwest Austin. I don't think that's the Gigafactory one, but I'm 90% sure it's in Del Valley. And what's up, sir? We have one more stop at South Congress, and then we are going to be returning to the visitor center. I recommend you get your cameras and phones ready, as when we turn on to South Congress here, you're going to get one of the best views of the Austin skyline that you can find in the entire city. We are about to turn on to what's called a Capitol Protected Viewing Corridor. These are ordinances here in Austin stating from this location, I need to have a clear view of the Texas State Capitol. They have come under fire in recent years by architects who want to build up our downtown a little more. But they are generally loved by the city as they give us a clear view of the most beautiful building in the downtown, our Capitol. Over here, so this over here is one of our kind of public modern art things. Like I said, we're a very artistic city. In my opinion, that looks like a giant octopus, but I didn't study art in college. So this could be some great interpretation of the 1840s, and to me it looks like an octopus. Alrighty, you guys. Now, if you look right in front of us, y'all are going to see that tall, skinny tower. It kind of looks like a Liberty Tube. You'll see that? That is the Austonian condominium. The Austonian condominium is the second tallest building in the Austin skyline, coming in at 683 feet. It was the tallest up until a few years ago, when that building over there, that looks like a bunch of blocks on top of each other, called the Independent was built. The Independent was supposedly beat the Austonian by feet. However, when you look at the Independent, it looks like they put a net on top. Now, I am not an architect. It is just my humble opinion that if you want to be the tallest building in Austin, you have to actually complete the building. So, depending on who you ask, you're going to get a different answer to your question. Some people will tell you the Independent is taller. You ask some other people like myself, they will tell you the Austonian is taller. Which one are you thinking, Germany? Which one's taller, the Independent or the Austonian? The Austonian, they got smart people in Germany over there. And with that, you guys, we are now approaching our 6th stop on the tour. This is where you can hop off to check out the South Congress area. We like to joke that this is our Bermuda Triangle, as when people hop up here, we tend not to see them for the rest of the day. Oh, y'all live near here? Okay. So y'all just took us as a way to get around the city a little. Alright. Now here we are, our 6th stop on the tour. Alright. Okay, now we got some people coming on. So that is a little farther down, like right on the border of downtown South Congress. Well, maybe how long? Probably 20, 25 minutes, maybe, depending on how fast you're walking. Welcome. Hi, everybody. I hope you had a great time on the floor, guys. Thank you. Ooh, good barbecue by the visitor center. All right. Okay, I'm trying to think here. Ironworks, unfortunately, is closed on Sunday. They're the closest there. They have very good food. They're closed. I think Cooper's Barbecue on Commerce Avenue, in between like it's either second or third or third or fourth. That has very good barbecue, but you have to be able to walk all the way to Commerce Avenue. So depending on how that is for y'all, welcome back, you guys. Welcome back, everyone. Nice to see all four of y'all on the bus again. If you're looking to walk in downtown, Cooper's Barbecue, I think it's open today. I'm not entirely sure. Most of these barbecue places have it closed at least 1 or 2 days a week. Like Ironworks Barbecue is closed. They are not open at all today. Cooper's is good in downtown. If you are looking for, if you can drive, Style Switch on North Lamar. Style Switch, S-T-I-L-E-S, Switch Barbecue on North Lamar. That is not a walking distance. Oh, okay. I would say it's probably 15 to 20 minute drive. It's a local hotspot, so you're not going to deal with nails on the lawn or tourists. But very good food. That's where I go whenever I want to show some people barbecue. Alright. And with that, we are ready to go whenever you are, Mike. Now, by a quick show of hands, how many of y'all have heard the phrase, keep Austin weird before? Alright. Now, how many of y'all have heard the phrase, keep Portland weird before? Yeah, well, yeah. Portland stole that. They try to pretend to be Austin from time to time. I would do the same if I were Portland. That's the only slight effect to it. But what keep Austin weird means is keep Austin unique and local. We love supporting our local economy here in Austin. And most of us don't mind spending a little extra money if we know that money is going to be going to a fellow Austinite, or at least a Texan, as opposed to another major global chain like Walmart or Amazon. Go. So those of y'all just joining us from South Congress, where some of the places y'all went while y'all are walking about this pretty little area? What about y'all, Chris and Jenny? Where y'all go?
Kendra Scott.
Kendra Scott. I can tell who wanted to go there. What about y'all right here in front of me? Where did y'all go while y'all were on South Congress? All over? Okay. That's why he's back on the bus. He's not getting off anymore. And what about y'all, Jordan and Daniel? Where'd y'all go? Where? Oh, Home Slice? And where? Okay. Going to some good places. There's some fun places to check out here. Alright, if you look up here on your left, y'all can see one of the great street performances going on that you can find on South Congress. Right here on the corner. Yep. Now, as we go by Home Slice Pizza, I want you all to take in a nice big whiff and see if you can smell some of the pizza that Home Slice is selling. Yep. Home Slice here is voted year in and year out as the best pizza in all of Austin, Texas. Which is saying something, because we love our pizza. She has found massive success since moving here since from Portland, New York. But let's say you want to go with sweet instead of salty, every time you come here, you eat some ice cream. Though the founder of Amy's Ice Cream is originally from Boston, Massachusetts, she moved here when she decided that she wanted to open her very own ice cream parlor after discovering that passion in college. She has found massive success and been able to open multiple locations within the city. Alrighty, now, do you see this tall, pretty tower right there in front of us with the circles on it? That is the Frost Bank building. It stands at 515 feet tall and is one of the most iconic buildings in the Austin skyline. And there is a fun little rumor about the Prospect Building that it was designed by a Rice University graduate to resemble an owl, as a way for them to keep an eye on the University of Texas. The logic is that if you stand at a 45-degree angle and look up, the circles of the tower will make eyes, the corner a beak, and the points the horns of an owl. While this is a very fun and loose way of interpreting that, this rumor is nothing more than that. The architectural firm that designed the Prospect Building is located in the Carolinas, about 4 to 5 states away, and the architect claimed that they were going for a translucent pyramidal crown. Do I fully know what that means? No, I do not. I think I made it clear. I'm not an architect. But what it means for most of the city, like myself, is cool looking building. Great. Cool looking building. And now a bit of recent Austin history for you guys. Despite our size and population here in Austin, we actually didn't have any pro sports teams in the major leagues in the U.S. Not the NFL, NBA, baseball, hockey. So in 2017, when the team Austin FC was declared for Major League Soccer, the people of Austin took to that like so, ran rap. We love Austin FC, and when you're walking around the city, you'll find tons of people wearing shirts, hats, and even jerseys to support the team to let them know that they belong here in Austin, Texas. We love the players on Austin FC, and I would say they are perhaps the second most beloved members of the Austin community. Any guesses as to the first? Who are the most beloved members of the Austin community? Do I gotta guess Arizona? Who are the most beloved members of Austin? The what? The wrong one. Not this year. We went 5 and 7. They let us down. Yes, said that's September. You probably would be right. What about your birthday boy? You gonna guess? No idea? Okay. What about y'all, Houston? You gonna be all gonna guess you're the most beloved members of Austin? No ideas? It is 1.5 million Mexican retail bats that like to come here this summer to escape the heat in Mexico. They actually will live under this bridge, the Abraham Congress Bridge, and around sunset you'll see a massive crowd of people line up here on the side of the river to watch the bats fly out, what I can only describe as a massive black feather cloud of bats. They are the most beloved members of the Austin community, and they are personally my sister that lives here. In my defense, it is believed that the bats eat between 10 to 30,000 pounds of insects every single night. And my sister averages 1 pound every 2 hours with a fly swat. There are a lot of insects here in the summer, and those bats do wonders by eating them all over. Now, we are a very educationally oriented city here in Austin. I've already talked plenty about UT, but that's not the only school that likes to call Austin home. We also have St. Edward's University, Concordia University, Hudson-Tillotson University, and Austin Community College, and that is just within Austin proper. When you look at the greater Central Texas area, we also have Southwestern University located in Georgetown, and Texas State University in San Marcos, about 25 to 30 minutes away. We also have a booming economy here in Austin, with high-tech, biotech, and pharmaceuticals, all finding homes here in recent years, as well as long-standing staples of the city of higher education and government. So you combine Austin being a great place to learn with being a great place to earn, and it's no surprise houses to sell at 100% over the initial asking price. Houses to meet demand, but it's going to take some time. So if you're contemplating whether or not you want to move to Austin, let's wait. Okay? Let's build the houses before you jump into the housing market, shall we? And now, as great as the name Austin, Texas is, this area was not always known as Austin. There was a name here for the settlement before it was renamed after Stephen F. And the original name of this settlement was Waterloo. So you'll find references to Waterloo all throughout the city, and believe it or not, you can actually still see some of the architecture of the Waterloo settlement today. If you look over here on our left, you're going to see the Austin Convention Center with a modified old meets new with the Waterloo to make it more usable for today. But there are still some buildings left from those times. Over here on our right, you can see this house only slightly modified to make it more bearable for Texas summers. And perhaps the best example of all right here in front of us, the moonshine. While the food and drink at moonshine is incredible, I would say the best part of moonshine is its atmosphere, where you can lose all track of time just caught up in the ambiance and vibe that moonshine has to offer. And with that, we are now approaching the Austin Visitor Center. I would just like to thank you all for joining us today. I love getting to talk about Austin whenever I can. And the fact that you took a little bit of time to hear me means the world to both Mike and myself. Tips are greatly appreciated. They are split between Mike and myself. And Mike has done a fantastic job of driving today, so be sure to thank him as you get off the bus. Please remain seated until the bus comes to a complete stop, at which point you can stand up, get off the bus, and it will officially conclude our tour. If you joined us at a later location, or if you have the hop-on, hop-off ticket, feel free to stay on until we get to your original stop. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to bring them up with Mike and I. We'll be glad to help you any way we can. Thank you for joining us, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you for joining. This is Love Stars.